event.
You're listening to the latest world news from the BBC. The Cambodian leader Hun Sen says he's invited the chief of Myanmar's ruling junta to attend a regional ASEAN summit on the condition that progress is made on a peace plan. Myanmar's military government has been largely ostracised by the rest of the world since seizing power a year ago. Kurdish forces in Syria say they've freed 9 prison staff caught up in the takeover of a jail by Islamic State members that holds thousands of suspected jihadists. On the 6th day of a major battle with IS, the Kurdish-led SDF says it's continuing a sweep of buildings in the town of Hasaka, where the group's fighters are hiding out. COVID has broken out aboard an Australian warship carrying humanitarian aid to assist virus-free Tonga after this month's volcanic eruption and tsunami. The Australian Defence Minister, Peter Dutton, said the relief effort would not be allowed to put Tongans at risk of COVID, and the ship would remain at sea while it was decided how to deliver the supplies safely. The first Arab film to be produced by Netflix continues to elicit controversy over what conservative elements in the Middle East see as its normalisation of extramarital sex and homosexuality. Sebastian Usher has the story.
The film, set in Lebanon, is the latest remake of the Italian hit Perfect Strangers, in which a group of friends play a game in which their phone calls and texts are made available to each other, thus revealing a series of secrets and scandals. The subjects that come up are not usually broached so directly in Arab films or television series. One character is discovered to be gay. A father tells his teenage daughter on the other end of a line that it's up to her whether she has sex or not. One of the actors has come under particular attack. Mona Zaki is a huge star in Egypt, where a cultural battle between liberal and deeply conservative attitudes still rages.
And that's the BBC News.
Hello, this is the Arts Hour on the BBC World Service. I'm Nikki Beattie, reflecting on the world of arts and entertainment for the next 60 minutes with the best global arts and culture conversation from across the BBC and beyond.
Coming up on... At the time, we explained the restrictions, we encouraged people to adhere to them, and as a last resort, but only as a last resort, we moved to enforcement. In general, we have not normally investigated breaches of the regulations when they have been reported long after they have said to have been taken place. And I'll like, if I may here, just quickly to explain why. It was never a blanket rule, but it was our guidelines that in general we wouldn't. And we've said that publicly on many occasions. Throughout the pandemic, our focus has been on what we could do to benefit public health. We police by consent, and people need to see that what we're doing has a purpose. Hence the 4 E's approach. And of course, we did issue tickets. And we did enforce with some really flagrant breaches, but most people, as you all well know, responded very well to our engagement and changed their behaviour. We do have finite resources, and even more so during the worst periods of the pandemic, when our officers fell ill, as well as other people. And our view was and is that it would not normally be a proportionate use of officers' time to spend their time, bearing in mind the nature of the offences, after the fact, investigating what could have been thousands of complaints. These are summary-only offences. The people who commit them get a fixed penalty notice. I think in general, the public would understand that we need to focus on violent crime and terrorism and other priorities, as well, of course, as doing our bit during the pandemic. But recognising that there might be some occasions where we would investigate retrospectively, we generated some guidelines, only guidelines, but guidelines that we have stuck to. And you will be aware that we have, on occasion, investigated retrospectively. Some of my own officers, a few, have received penalty notices when we heard after the fact that they had breached the guidelines. One or two high-profile people also, when it was plain that they had admitted and there was good evidence, they also, after the fact and a few weeks after the fact, received penalty notices. And the occasions on which we have done that have been where we were looking at something which appeared to be the most serious and flagrant type of breach, and where three factors came into play. Firstly, there had to be, of course, I'll add a fourth, there has to be some kind of evidence, not just somebody saying something. There has to be some sort of start point, some sort of evidence. But my three factors were and are: there was evidence that those involved knew or ought to have known that what they were doing was an offence. Where not investigating would significantly undermine the legitimacy of the law, and where there was little ambiguity around the absence of any reasonable defence. So in those cases where those criteria were met, the guidelines suggested that we should potentially investigate further and end up giving people tickets. We have a long-established and effective working relationship with the Cabinet Office, who have an investigative capability. And as you well know, they have been carrying out an investigation over the last few weeks. And what I can tell you this morning is that as a result, firstly, of the information provided by the Cabinet Office inquiry team, and secondly, my officer's own assessment, I can confirm that the Met is now investigating a number of events that took place at Downing Street and Whitehall in the last 2 years in relation to potential breaches of COVID-19 regulations. My officers have assessed several other events that appear to have taken place at Downing Street and Whitehall. On the available information, these other events are assessed as not reaching the threshold for criminal investigation. Throughout the pandemic, the Met has sought to take, as I have said, a proportionate approach. I should stress that the fact that we are now investigating does not, of course, mean that fixed penalty notices will necessarily be issued in every instance and to every person involved. We will not be giving a running commentary on our current investigations, but I can assure you that we will give updates at significant points, as we would generally do. And finally, I would just say, you mentioned a number of other matters that you are clearly frustrated about, and no doubt some other people as well. I know what you are talking about in each instance. I suspect it's not worth discussing them here and not appropriate. All I would say is I beg to differ. I am fully aware of the decisions that were made in each of the cases that you mentioned, Umesh, and I believe we did the right thing, and we will always seek to do the right thing.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. Assembly Member Russell, if you've got anything different, but a question, not a statement, please.
Chair, I have very clear questions that relate to what.
Well, don't forget, we're only allowing 15 minutes for this.
I am aware, and I've got the clock running. Commissioner, you've just set out what was part of what was said in the 13th of January statement by the Met, that you don't routinely investigate retrospective breaches of COVID laws, and that you used a 4Es approach, which is to engage, explain, encourage, enforce at the time of breaches, and that you may review and consider significant evidence if it becomes available. Was there any attempt made to use the 4Es approach to engage, explain, encourage, enforce with attendees at any of the Downing Street lockdown parties while they were happening?
So I think you will understand that it's inappropriate for me to comment on that. We are in the middle of an investigation, and when we have investigated, then I'm sure the facts will become apparent. You shouldn't read anything into that apart from the fact that I'm not prepared to comment.
Thank you. It sounds like there was a culture of law-breaking parties rather than a single one-off event. We've heard reports of wheelie suitcases of drink clanking through security. Surely some officers were concerned about what they were seeing at the time. Was any concern raised with you or any member of your team about what was going on in Downing Street while the coronavirus lockdown laws were in place?
So you'll be aware that there are a number of officers posted in the surrounds of Downing Street and indeed what we call more generally the government security zone. They have a very clear role and that is protective security. You'll be aware that the ones you see are all armed and they have a job to do. In relation to anything they may have seen or heard or done or not done, again, I'm afraid I'm not prepared to comment, but I can assure you that we are carrying out our investigations and if that is a relevant matter, we will find out about that.
Thank you. The problem is that if people begin to think that the laws apply to everyone except the people who set those laws, then the police may struggle to retain that public consent that enables them to do their jobs. Are you worried that the apparent lack of investigation of the mess in Downing Street might be further damaging trust and confidence in the police?
So I fully recognise people have been very concerned about this. I think you will recognise also that in the explanation, I hope, in the explanation I've given, you can see that we have acted carefully, thoughtfully, and in concert with the Cabinet Office inquiry. I do need to say we work very regularly with the Cabinet Office team. Even sometimes in the most serious cases, they will carry out an initial investigation and then hand us material. And they have access to all sorts of things because they know the systems, they know the way things work. I am confident in the inquiry that they have done. I don't like anything that can potentially damage public confidence. Of course I don't. But I have to do what I think is the right thing in all the circumstances. And sadly, in policing, also recognise that sometimes some people won't be happy. But as long as we know that we have acted fairly, impartially, that we have done our jobs and we've done them to the best of our ability, then that's what we have to do.
And just finally, your investigation, the welcome investigation that the Met is now investigating a number of events, when do you expect to be able to report back on that?
So I can't give you a timescale, I'm afraid, at the moment. I just can't. All I can say is we won't give a running commentary, but in accordance with our normal press guidelines, we will, of course, update the public at significant moments.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Assembly Member Pigeon.
Thank you very much. Commissioner, I don't imagine any of the parties were silent discos. We've seen pictures of people gathering in the garden over wine and cheese. As already mentioned, police on site probably would have heard drinking and talking in the garden, but also Downing Street in the area has so many CCTV cameras 24 hours a day. Will those form part of your investigation that you've announced this morning?
We will, of course, be going where the evidence takes us. And we have already done our own assessment, as you know, and we've been in a constant dialogue with the Cabinet Office team. So I don't anticipate any difficulty in obtaining the evidence that it is both necessary, proportionate and appropriate for us to obtain in order to get to the right conclusions.
Lovely, thank you. And could you just finally clarify, you talked about some parties that you're going to be investigating. Does this also include the alleged party at CCHQ, which we saw a photograph of?
So I'm not going to talk about, there's been a whole plethora of things in the media, as everybody is very well aware. I'm not at this stage going to say which ones we are and which ones we are not. But I can say, as I have, that we are investigating a number, and there are several that we are not investigating.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Thank you. We're now going to go on to the very serious issue of the Stephen Port murders, and I think, colleagues, we should reflect upon the point.
Well, there you go. Confirmation from Dame Cressida Dick from the Metropolitan Police that the Met has begun investigating various Downing Street parties that took place during the lockdown period, allegedly in contravention of the rules. Let's bring in our Deputy Political Editor, Sam Coates. Sam, what do you make of that?
Well, this is very serious for Boris Johnson. It appears that Sue Gray's report has found potential evidence of law breaking, and that means that the Cabinet Office have been in conversation with the Metropolitan Police, and this has led Dame Cressida Dick of the Metropolitan Police to conclude that they do now need to investigate. What you heard in that London Assembly hearing was Cressida Dick explain why until now the Metropolitan Police have not opened an investigation, but the news that they now have will send shockwaves through government and through the entire Conservative Party. I'm standing next to the gates of Downing Street. As I look, I can see that the Cabinet are holed up inside number 10. It's the weekly Cabinet meeting, and you've got number 10, or the cars outside number 10 indicating that that Cabinet meeting has not yet broken up. But no doubt, as soon as Cabinet Ministers come out, we'll be asking them whether this was discussed. Because in the last two Cabinet meetings, our understanding is that the issue of parties and the drama that's been dominating the political landscape hasn't been raised. But now we are at potentially a tipping point. Now, there's a big question that we don't have the answer to, which is what's the impact of the announcement of the police investigation into the Sue Gray report itself, and whether or not we get to see it. Previously, when we've asked Whitehall officials what happens if the police launch an investigation, if they did that before Sue Gray reports, the answer has come back that frankly it's going to be very difficult to put the details of what happened in the public domain. That's because it could jeopardise a public inquiry. We wait to hear confirmation from officials whether that will indeed be the case. But either way, what we now are looking forward to is a period of extreme political instability, where there's unlikely to be firm resolution to the questions of exactly what went on inside Downing Street over the last 2 years, as the police too investigate. We know that Cressida Dick, as she just told us, is investigating a number of events that took place in there, ruling out an investigation into some of the other parties, alleged parties that took place in Whitehall, including at the Department for Education, those we found out about just before Christmas. But it is the activities of the Prime Minister that are now coming under police scrutiny. And I thought one of the most significant things that Cressida Dick did in that hearing in front of the London Assembly was to outline the criteria that she saw as necessary before launching a retrospective investigation into breaches of pandemic rules. And she said top of that list was evidence that the individuals involved knew that it was an offence. And of course the Prime Minister himself was the individual that was setting the rules. So that could potentially give some indication of the way that they're approaching it. However, this is now a police investigation. Police investigations have taken place in the past into political matters. Cressida Dick herself has been involved in them, and what we know is that they can take quite a long time. There's been a desperation from Cabinet Ministers, from Tory MPs to draw a line under this affair, an expectation there would be an enormous fight over the Prime Minister's reputation the moment that the Sue Gray report was published. But if that now gets delayed, potentially for many weeks, maybe even months, by a police investigation, then I think that just means more trauma for the Conservative Party.
All right, Sam, thanks for that. Sam Coates being serenaded by the Bay City Rollers in the background there, one for our older viewers. We'll have more on that story throughout the morning here, of course, on Sky News. One of the big trends in the life and pension sector over the last decade is the so-called bulk annuity transaction. Under these deals, a company will pay an insurer a one-off premium to take on responsibility for meeting that company's future pension promises. Well, Standard Life, owned by Phoenix Group, has just completed one of these deals worth £1.8 billion, covering 6,600 members of the Imperial Tobacco Pension Fund. Well, Andy Curran is Chief Executive of Standard Life, and he joins me now. Andy, morning to you. There are two types of bulk purchase annuity deal, aren't there? There's a buyout and a buy-in. You better explain the difference and what you've done here.
Sure. The difference between a buyout and a buy-in, Ian, is for a buyout, the insurer directly pays the pension to the income to the member of the pension scheme. For a buy-in, it pays it via the trustees. So that's the key difference between the two.
And the key thing is that this effectively means that Imperial Tobacco, or Imperial Brands as they're now called, they no longer run the risk of meeting their future pension promises. You take that on.
Correct. That's exactly what happens. And this is a big market for us. We expect around about 40 billion of transactions to happen in 2022 alone, and we see that running through for probably at least the next 10 years or so. So it's a very, very big market. At Standard Life, we think we're very well placed to be a market leader in this space. We've invested heavily over 2021 across our asset management team, our bulk purchase annuity pricing team, and working closely with finance and actuarial. So we see that as a real opportunity for us over the longer term, and some evidence that the market obviously thinks we have a good deal of skill and capability in this space is the fact that last year we wrote 5.5 billion of these schemes in total, which is double what we wrote in 2020. So it's a big market for us. We believe we have the expertise, and it's very appealing for us, as I said, over the longer term. And it's attractive, as you quite rightly point out, for the companies themselves, because what happens for them is they get the opportunity to run their business. So typically a CFO wants to go with running the business, not running the pension scheme. And from the member, it gives them a level of comfort that their pension is being supported by a pension specialist company such as Standard Life. So it's very exciting times for us, and we're slightly ahead of where we thought we would be at this stage last year.
Are there any risks involved in transactions of this type?
Of course, there are many risks to consider, which is why it was very important for us to build out the capability of our team. We spent a good deal of time, certainly in the first half of 2021, building out what I would consider a market-leading team of experts across all different aspects of pricing for these sorts of trades. So we're very, very confident that you really need to understand the risks, which we do. And if you do understand the risks, this is a very valuable market for companies such as Standard Life and as part of the Phoenix Group. Now, bearing in mind within the Phoenix Group, this is not all we do. Clearly, Phoenix Group was well known and a market leader at running our heritage business. It was a market leader in the M&A space. And the third pillar of our strategy here is to build out that open division, of which BPA is a very, very important aspect of it, which is why I joined the company about 18 months ago to push on that, but not just the bulk purchase annuity market, corporate pensions, and other aspects of our business, because the largest long-term savings and retirement business in the UK, clearly we want to deliver really good financial outcomes as people journey to and through retirement, and we have 13 million customers to look after.
You mentioned, Andy, just now the situation for the members themselves. I mean, in theory, members of the pension schemes involved will not notice any difference whatsoever.
That's correct, because effectively what you're talking about here is what the industry would know as final salary schemes. So you know what the income payment you will get from your pension benefit will be. You know that, so that is certain. So from a member's perspective or an annuitant's perspective, this gives them a level of comfort that the backing behind those payments is actually coming from a pension specialist such as Standard Life as part of the Phoenix Group.
All right, Andy, got to leave it there. Good to see you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just going to go back to the news that we broke at the top of the programme, which is confirmation from Dame Cressida Dick that the Metropolitan Police is investigating Downing Street parties allegedly held during the lockdown period. We've had
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
From employee to entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired. Yes! How do you get the energy to do that?
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. The hole of darkness.
So what did that
myself and the world in a just and 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hello, lovely listeners. Tune in to the renewed show with Charlotte. Make it a date to listen to me this and every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Starr Radio UK. Tune in to an hour of power, an hour of encouragement, an hour to inspire you to stay positive and strong in this season. See you there and listen.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Body is your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. We don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
All around the world.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Hey there, this is Archie. Oh yes, once again, massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute you all and welcome you to the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Today is the 25th day of January, the year 2022. Time now 10:39 from the House of London. Of course, I am the one and only and remain yours sincerely.
This is the morning show with Archie.
My God, the promise keeper.
So once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth and those of you on other planets as well. We salute you all and we welcome you to the Tuesday edition of the morning show. My special good morning goes to my colleagues, the team for this morning. Mr. Frank David, Kojo D, Felix, Mr. Francis Guy, and in the house this morning we have Mr. Elopong. So I want to salute you all, gentlemen. My special greetings goes all the way to Cyprus, where we have HRH in the Parliament. Swindon, where we have Captain Felix Tete as well. To our listeners in the US, those of you in Asia, those of you in Europe, those of you in Australia, on the African continent, those of you here in the UK, I salute you all.
Me say, everything is gonna.
I beseech you, my brethren, to share this broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well.
Everything is gonna be alright.
As it's been played in the background, understand it? Yeah, it doesn't matter what is going on. Somewhere, somehow, they do get alright, don't they?
I may not see it, but still I'm trusting.
Okay, no.
God is
all protocol observed.
He is working.
And once again, thank you very much for joining us. Share the broadcast and like our pages. Those of you who join us on the YouTube, we are streaming live on the Starr Radio UK channel. Starr Radio UK channel.
To something I may not see it.
Stay with us, don't you go away. Now, if it's the first time of tuning in to listen to us, on Tuesday, this is how the program goes. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel updates as well. We move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. Then after, we come and break all the stories down, starting from Nigeria to other parts of the world, and the UK and everywhere. If it's making the headlines, why not? I promise you, we're going to touch on it. As I say all the time, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, yes, if it's making headlines, we will do it. But there is a time where you are also allowed to make your voice heard, and that is exactly at 12 o'clock when the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussions. So if you have anything to say, feel free to join in at 12 o'clock. However, give you the opportunity to also share your take with us on any of the issues before the lines are open at 12. So you can post it on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, or wherever you want to do. Feel free to do so and let us enjoy the show. And by 1 o'clock, the curtains are brought down for the end of the program. Now remember, this afternoon exactly at 1:30, BB Clement is coming away with BB Means Business. Now I'm going to be telling you what she's going to be looking at this morning once again. Yes, today she's going to be looking at how to build a personal brand. You want to build your own personal brand, you have to make sure you listen to this program this afternoon. Yes, it is a mind changer and it's going to change your mind.
But still I'm trusting. God is working, He is working, He is working. Tell you, God is working, working, working. But please say, God is working. Tell you everybody, He's up to something I may not see.
Starr Radio UK.
Still I'm trusting.
And let me say special happy birthday to my lovely girl, my little girl. She's not 21, you know. Veronica, happy birthday to you, princess. You're not a big girl, so your old man can now start chilling out, isn't it? All right then. Now, if any one of you celebrating your birthdays today, or having any, maybe you have now having your wedding. Those of you who couldn't have your birthdays, they said the Prime Minister was having a birthday. He is the brain of the country at the time. Needs to make sure that everything is taken along. So we have to keep him happy. What about the golden, the hen that lays the golden eggs? It seems to me that is what was going on. You know, I know some people will be bashing me, giving me cheer, but whatever it is. Enjoy your day if you are celebrating anything today. Okay. Now the quote for the day says, be open-minded, and when things change, see them as great opportunities because you understand what change means. Now be open-minded, and when things change, see them as great opportunities because you understand what change means. Yeah, it's scared to know to see the unknown or venture into an unknown territory. However, be rest assured that some way, somehow, things will work together. But be open-minded. Okay, so let's move on.
My God is never late, and He is never late. He's always there.
Now, moving on straight to the weather front to tell you what the weather is like this morning here in the UK, especially here in London and the southeast of England. This afternoon will be mostly dry but rather dull and cloudy. There will be hardly any room for brightness, and it will feel chilly and a thick cloud, light winds as well. And this evening and tonight, it will remain mostly dull and overcast for many. Chance of a few clearer breaks towards dawn, but also the risk of some patchy mist expected as well. When it comes to the temperatures, the top temperature is going to be 5 degrees, the lowest is going to be 3 degrees. UV level is going to be low and pollution is going to be low as well. Sunset 16:37 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 07:49 hours. That brings us to the end of the weather forecast for you today, Tuesday, the 25th day of January, the year 2022.
Gonna be alright. Every little thing is gonna be alright now.
Yes, they do.
Everything is gonna be alright. Every little
some way, somehow. Okay, let's take a quick break. Once we come back, I'll bring you the travel updates. Don't you worry, you will enjoy that tune.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
check it out. Keep your eyes on the road. Keep your eyes on the road.
Yes, so keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads, so keep you navigated. I promise I'm on the Starr Radio Travel Update that comes to you every weekday from 10:40. It's now exactly 10:48. So what is your travels like this morning? Do you want to share with us? Feel free to do so. Yes, let me tell you what is happening here in London. Yes, a few incidents here and there on the underground Metropolitan line. I've got severe delays between Harrow on the Hill and Uxbridge due to signal failure at Rayners Lane. And as I would say all the time, check before you leave so you don't get yourself stuck in any traffic or anything of the sort and miss your appointment. On the Northern Line, there are part closures until mid of May 2022, and therefore bus route 733 will operate between Moorgate and over via Bank. So check before you travel on that part if you've not. Now on the Piccadilly line as well, minor delays between Acton Town and Heathrow Uxbridge due to an earlier signal failure at Hammersmith. Good service on the rest of the line. Waterloo and City lines have still got planned closure. The other side, all the others have got good service. DLR has also got minor delays between Bank and Canning Town due to a power failure at Shadwell. So please check before you leave if that's the route that you use. That aside, London Overground TFL Rail, London Tramlink in good service. I'm moving on straight to the river bus. Apart from the Woolwich Railway that's suspended, all the others have got good service. Now keep your eyes on the roads. Also keep you navigated. I promise I'll bond. Moving on straight to the National Rail. On the National Rail, Avanti West Coast, Cross Country, First Transpennine and Express, Great Northern, Great Western, London North Eastern Railway have all got special service. Also, Northern Rail, ScotRail, Southern, Thameslink have also got special service. That aside, all the others, good service. I'm moving on to the final segment of the travel updates for you today. That's the major roads in London. Yes, a few incidents here and there, but open your ears, lend me your ears. Now, on A3, there are closures, A316 closures, A4 closures, Central London Red Roads closures, North Circular A406 closures, and South Circular A205 closures there as well. And that is how I say, well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the road.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired. Yes! How do you get the energy to do that?
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. The hole of darkness.
So what did that
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info welllamb@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hello, lovely listeners. Tune in to the renewed show with Charlotte. Make it a date to listen to me this and every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Starr Radio UK. Tune in to an hour of power, an hour of encouragement, an hour to inspire you to stay positive and strong in this season. See you there and listen.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time down to exactly 5 minutes to the top of the hour, and it's time for Global Trotting. Well, lots have happened over the last 12 hours. Let me call it that way. Okay, let's call it 24 hours. Yes, lots and lots and lots have happened. But let me quickly just touch on them, and then we will bring you details of it once we go into the details. But remember, as I announced to you this afternoon exactly at 1:30 p.m., BB Clement will be coming your way with BB Means Business, and today she'll be looking at how to create your own brand. So let's say you want to create brand Archie, or brand Felix, or brand Frank. Well, how would you do it? Maybe we don't have a clue about it, but she's going to be telling you. So that when anybody says that is the man, that is the woman. Now you want to know that? Make sure you join BB Clement exactly at 1:30 when she brings you that. Okay, it's now time for Global Trotting. Now, breaking police to investigate number 10 lockdown parties. Now, Met Police Commissioner Cressida Dick says the force will look into potential breaches of COVID-19 regulations. But are there going to be any criminal things? No, I don't know. They're just going to be investigating them. Maybe give them some fines or stuff like that. What do you think about that? We'll see what happens. But hey, now the party they seem to be enlarging the territory of the party. Now this time around, the Prime Minister had his 56th birthday in 2020, yes, and whilst there was a lockdown, that was the 19th of June, and then, well, you know, my worry has been that we seem to be critiquing or criticizing them. Now let's take a typical setup like the NHS. Let's say Croydon University, because that's close to us here. Now, so the staff there, they said the CEO is there. During the pandemic, they were all working. They were all there. So, and you know, most of the health workers were isolated. They didn't even go to their own homes. So they form a bubble with their team that they were working with. Okay. So if they meet in their pantry or their anywhere to sit and eat or celebrate something, what would you term that? What would you term that? Now, I don't want you to be, too much of a critique of what is going on, but I want you to be open-minded. What will you term that? Now, this is a person who is at the helm of making critical decisions for the country at a dire time where things were actually, we didn't know what the next day was going to bring. And therefore, somebody will say, give him a break. He needed a bit of a break, you know. Take a bit of a break, chill out, and then get on with the business. So that at least the following day, he would have had a bit of a sleep and maybe have his mind taken rightly to make such decisions. And so, do you think that we should just give him a slap on the wrist and say, come on, don't do that again. You are naughty Boris. And then let him just get on with the work that he's doing. I'll talk about the fellow scheme. But for the fellow scheme, most people would have suffered badly. Now, those who are saying that, well, the restriction was such that we were not allowed to go. If you were allowed, if you had gone out, look at the spread of people who were dying. You would have died, or chances are, let me put it that way, that you would have contracted it and might have lost your life or anything of the sort. So it was a right decision that don't go out. However, what they were doing there is another thing altogether. But not to say that, oh well, look at it, when they did that, so they restricted us and then they were enjoying, but they protected you in a way. So is it a positive aspect of it? Well, I want to have your take once the lines are open. But before then, if you want to post your comments on the Facebook page, feel free to do so. Okay then. Now, so as I announced, the Met Office and the Met Police is to investigate number 10, number of events at number 10. Now, inflation surge sends UK interest payments higher. The amount of interest paid on government debt was the highest for a December on record. And a Royal Mail to cut jobs amid ongoing postal delays. The move comes as the firm struggles to make deliveries, in part due to COVID-related absence. The public is being urged to sign up for COVID drug trial. The UK study aims to find out who will benefit most from a pill designed to treat COVID-19. Who want to be a guinea pig? Yay! Okay. Maybe I'll offer myself for all the Starr Radio UK listeners. I'll offer myself. Okay, we'll see about that. All right, now. Buried treasures threatened by climate change. Now, our ability to understand Britain's history is at risk. One archaeologist, and that's a story that's been said there. And passengers hurt as London bus crashes into shop. The Met Police says it has put various road closures in place as paramedics treat people. And that is one story that is happening about an hour ago. Let me bring you more details of that. The crash happened on Selwyn Avenue, High Arms Park at about 8:20 GMT. The Metropolitan Police have said. Okay, if any of your relations were traveling on that route, I'm trying to get the bus. The route is 212. Bus to route 212. Okay, so check if any of them was traveling at that time. I hope that by this time they would have gotten in touch with you on that front. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. And now, moving on. Okay, my apologies. Now, state pension age is crucial for lower earners. And that's another story making the rounds. And Mamite, the maker, is to ask 1,500 jobs worldwide. Why are people not liking the Mamite again? What's happening on that front? Yeah. Well, it is all Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Birthday party claims add to Prime Minister political baggage. Leave him alone. Didn't you celebrate your birthday when you were there with your family when you were in isolation? Those who were those in your bubble, you did celebrate it. Whether you had chinchinga or you had whatever you ate, you did celebrate your birthday. Give the man a break. What do you think? Well, we'll be looking more into that. It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now moving on to other parts of the world as well. 8 killed in crash at African Cup of Nations. Now dozens more people are injured in the incident outside the football stadium in Cameroon. You know what happened here in Wembley during the Euros, the finals? The same thing seemed to have happened there, where because of the COVID restrictions, the number of people who were supposed to come into the stadium was reduced. That is, people broke through the ranks and then went there. The same thing that has happened. And people have lost their lives. We'll be bringing you more details on that. Now, U.S. troops on alert as West voices unity on Ukraine. Now, Western allies agree to sanction against Russia if it invades, as thousands of troops stand by. On standby, what is going to happen? Australian Open reverses pen, shoes, t-shirt ban. The turnaround comes less than 24 hours after organizers banned the shirts for being political. Okay, now they say you can wait. Now, court win for indigenous women raped in Guatemala. Now, 5 paramilitary soldiers are given 30 years jail terms for raping dozens of women in the 1980s. And I say that is a good one. But where does it end? We need to stretch it to I think the Second World War and stuff like that. Do you think that would be fair? Well, it is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Yes, U.S. black man mistaken for white suspect, a lawsuit. Now, Shane Lee Brown was freed from jail after a judge compared photos of the two men. Legal action says. You look at the pictures, there is nothing of any resemblance there. So, well, Stereotyping. Okay. Okay, and Australia buys Aboriginal flag rights after row. Aboriginal Australians say the symbol of identity was previously held hostage by lease agreement. La la la. Okay, let's move on. We'll be bringing you more stories on those fronts, but now still global trotting. Now, Burkina Faso coup. President Kabore was ousted. We'll be telling you more on that front. What happened? How was it captured? And then when it comes to Nigeria, Boko Haram, ISWAP terrorists kill 4, abduct 24 in Chibok. Chibok once again. And then Adova to conclude construction of West African largest LPG storage facility by December 2022, which is something good for the sub-region. And then beyond ECOWAS sanctions, how can Mali overcome the crisis? There are some stories being looked at there as well. Hanifa Abubakar Kela calls himself loving and compassionate in his Facebook bio. Well, depending on where or how you see yourself, he thinks that, well, I'm a loving, I'm a good person. Well, in his mind, what he did was right. You looking at it know that, well, what he did wasn't right. But what do you think about all that? Nigeria ranks 154 out of 180 countries on corruption perception. Wow. Okay, they are doing very, very well. 154 out of 180. I think they are doing well. Much better than some countries. I think some countries are now taking their places now, but it's all coming your way from Star Radio UK. Now, Nigeria drops in latest. Okay, that is the same story. That was a breaking story that came. And then anti-graft agency, the EFCC, to arraign Ondo Speaker and other lawmakers February 23, 2022. So come next month, they will be arraigning them. Okay. Now, moving on straight to what is happening in Ghana. Well, there's been a banter between the Ashanti Hene and the Doma Hene. And the Doma Hene says, you know what? I have more salvos in my arsenal, but I won't disrespect the Otunfo. So, what is going to happen there? Is it going to Koto? Well, we're going to be seeing more on that. And Parliament won't discuss e-levy this week. Ahmed Ibrahim reveals. But we had I always want to call him the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the Finance Minister, saying that it's going to be discussed this week and it's going to be approved. The same rate. They're not doing anything about it. What do you think about all that? Coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Then, Bagman tackles Kandapa over use of near to describe 8 parliament. We'll be bringing you more details on that. What does it mean by near? So is it because they are at power and therefore one is not holding a dominant power over the other, and therefore they think that they should be referred to as mere? Well, some people are making lots of noise about it. It's a reputable firm or organization or a state hand, and therefore shouldn't be referred to as mere. When some of them misbehave, well, the office of the Special Prosecutor has begins probe into banking sector crisis. Now, what is it going to find out, and how is it going to benefit people who have lost their jobs or people who have lost their banks? And is it going to, because I saw, I think sometime last week, the PPP calling for government to reinstate Group Indum, the bank, and then so you ask yourself the question, what exactly is going on? Why are they appealing? So should the bank for Dr. Dufour's bank should they, what party does it belong to? Maybe NDC. Should they get the NDC to go and also appeal to the government to reinstate that one as well? And what about Dr. Otabel's one? Well, what do you think about all that? Well, we'll be bringing you more on that front. But it's all coming away from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're going to take a break, bring you some lovely music. God is working. It doesn't matter how, if you don't see it or see it. Then after that, I'll be introducing Mr. Frank Davis to you. But stay tuned. Don't you go away. Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones.
God is working. He's up to something. I may not see it, but still I'm trusting. God is working. He is working. He is working. Tell you, God is working, working, working. But please say, God is working. Tell you, everybody, He's up to something. I may not see it, still I'm trusting. 'Cause God is working, 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 working. God is working, working, working. He never sleep or slumber. My God, the promise keeper, sees every tear that falls, every tear that falls. My God is never early, and He is never late. He's always there, right on time, you know. And if He said it, surely He meant it. And if He meant it, surely He will do it. God is working. He's up to something. I may not see it, still I'm trusting. God is working, working, working. God is working, 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 Me say, everything is gonna be alright. Every little thing is gonna be alright now. Everything is gonna be alright. Every little thing is gonna be alright. My God is not a liar, that He should lie, or the Son of Man that He should repay. If He said it, then He meant it, and if He meant it, God is working. He's up to something. I may not see it. I may not see it. Oh Lord of mercy, still I'm trusting. Hey, my God is working. He's working. He's working.
girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now exactly to 11:15. And in your shots at the moment, Mr. Frank Davis for you. And let me say, Frank, good morning to
Archie,
you.
good morning. Good morning to our listeners. Good morning to our viewers, wherever they are. Good morning to Sister BB.
Yes.
A special one to her.
Yes. Good morning to Sister BB. Yes, she's telling us to amend something.
Sister BB, there's an issue with Channel 1, so don't worry. Yeah.
Okay. Sister BB, we will do that for you. All right then. Yes. How was your night?
Actually, the night has been a long one. Still following politics and politics, and also the unfortunate events in Cameroon yesterday.
Yeah.
Was just a bit of heartbreaking. Knowing that people were just trying to go and support their team, and just to go and lose their lives. It doesn't matter the number. I mean, 8. That's a huge number.
Yeah.
By all considerations, and a huge other number we are told are injured and other. It's very unfortunate.
Well, while that was making the rounds, we had more party gate. This time birthday party gate. Now the party gate
it's becoming one too many. It's becoming one too many. I don't think how I don't see how for now it's going to be. He's going to regain his standing within the party again. It's becoming one too many.
But let's look at it this way. I was this morning. I was just at dawn when I woke up, and I was asking myself the question. Now you remember that during the time we have the NHS, let's say Croydon University Hospital, which is close to us. The doctors weren't going. Most of them weren't going to their homes because they formed a bubble there. So they can go to their canteen or whatever and then have a meal or maybe chilling around. Did we see anything wrong with that?
No, actually, that's a different scenario. That's why Boris Johnson in the first place tried defending himself to say that he thought it was a workplace. They say because when they form a bubble at a workplace, it does not really matter. But for you to invite others who are not working into whatever was going on, it moves from that working bubble scenario to a party mood, and that's exactly what we have in here. The reports are that others that do not work over there were part of each of those gatherings. If you look at the first one that they were invited, in fact, invitation was sent out, inviting them in. I get it. And the party too, we are told now that people who were not part of the workings within the number 10 were part. It's not like a working environment where you come in, happy birthday to you, we all surprises. No, but it was a proper drinker party kind of happy birthday. And yes, that is why sometimes when we trying to salute, please people, do what they call bootlick people, we should put our thinking caps on. But actually it is not on. Look, we were in a situation where parents left home, their sons and daughters could not even pay the last respect to them. They don't even know, people even don't know where their parents were buried just because of what the instructions you gave. Right,
but again, not to cut you, but the instruction that he gave was a good instruction because we look at the spread of people who were dying, the number of people who were dying, and the rate of the infection. So staying away was something that was good. So it was a good.
If it was good, why didn't you follow it yourself?
Maybe they were testing. They knew that they were
no. Were they a test lab? No, actually, no excuse for that. And in fact, in this country, especially, laws are made so that we all follow. And the best person to follow the law is the person who makes the law, who speaks to the public that this will be the consequence. Actually, there were people who were fined. I recall what they call it. Was it Midlands? That a lady and someone went drove about 30 miles just to go and take a walk, and they went to find out. Look at that. Two people.
And even you remember Scotland?
Someone resigned. Someone resigned because she drove from
not even go inside
her second home. Not to go and mingle with people, but her second home. But because she's left the location to another place, even the Dominican's issue. You can even look at it as even better than what happened, because he drove to the family
to isolate.
But we are saying because he left that geographical area and here's the case: you are congregating, partying, drinking. I mean, he's a fun-loving man. We all know that, but not when you're making the rules, unless he did not think through them. And this is what policymakers who make the rules. He doesn't think through them. He comes to read them. So he doesn't even understand what he's reading. That could be the case. He doesn't even understand the rules. Oh, we've designed the rule, and Prime Minister, this is what will happen. You tell them this, you tell them, oh yes. And that's what exactly what David Cameron said. Dominic Cameron said that these guys was made up, was like a polish. He couldn't have run a government by himself.
Feed information.
You know, he was more like
the front man.
And that's exactly what we're witnessing. More like a robot who uses his charisma to echo what others are thinking, and that's it. You know.
Well, it's quite a worrying time. I mean,
he might go. Actually, he might go because he might go. He might go. Yesterday, Cummings again came out for another salvo. He said, look, when they asked him to basically interview, he told the woman, I am not coming for an interview because I do not want the Prime Minister to go and spin whatever I'm telling you with lies and other things. So he has to provide answers, written answers. He said, look, anytime he has given briefing, because when all this he has conversation with people and other things, anything that he discussed, they go and turn it around, spin it against him. And in fact, he's saying that Daniel Street leaks information to the media and spin it. Are you getting me? So you give them something, a clue about something, they leak it to the media and spin it their way. So even before you talk, the media has actually, giving you an image that they want you to take. So he said he's not going to speak to anyone. He'll provide answers and further more answers when needed, written. That way,
nobody can say that. Oh, this is what he was trying to say.
And he's a smart guy. He is very smart guy.
He is. Wow. Listen to Starr Radio UK. But this morning we have the Met saying, the Metropolitan Police saying that Commissioner Cressida Dick saying that their force will look into potential breaches of the COVID-19 regulations. And I'm asking myself, what are they going to get out of that? And that has caused the delaying of Sue Gray's report. So is it a ploy to maybe delay that and then
these are political games that are being played, but the police again have they've been given a mandate. They are law enforcers, and if there's a breach in any part of the law which they were supposed, because you recall they were charged to enforce what they call the
observation and
the affected arrest parties, the broker parties and other things. There were issues on the spot, fines and other things. So yes, it is within the RMA to be able to investigate any complaints or any suspicion of COVID laws being broken and bring charges against the individual. But I do not think that should stop Sue Gray's this
report.
If they are stopping it, then it's a game they are playing for the anger to go down, which for me is not going to work out well for the Prime Minister in the long run. Because yesterday, for instance, we had someone going to lodge a formal complaint about blackmailing. About blackmail, which is a criminal offense. Using, you are abusing office, using your office to blackmail someone, and if it is established, it's a huge problem for them.
It's a serious one. But looking at the I was talking about the fellow scheme, the bounce back, the various form of support that he was trying to give to the economy at the time. And you're looking at, I mean, someone being agile or the government being agile at the time. So when things pop up quickly, they reacted to it and stuff like that. And you could see that has sustained the country and the economy. And people can make lots of noise about whatever thing that have gone on, but for the actions that they took, we wouldn't be where we are. So do you think that should not work in its merit?
Actually, the law is law. Look, no one is taking issues of meetings or gatherings that took place when the pandemic was going on, effectively work-related issues. No one. Besides, they even advised us to be to be working from home anyway. So a lot of cabinet meetings were held at home. But these were fan-driven, fan-motivated, fan-filled events. Nothing work-related whatsoever. I mean, people could have celebrated their birthday. If you take a party, for instance, the eve of the Duke's burial, come on, no one can excuse it. No one can excuse. I mean, that is so insensitive that even people who should have been with the Queen had to hold back. The Queen, who could have had people close, had to obey the law. I mean, no excuse for that, no justification for that. For me, I think it's time he needs to go. I mean, it's an example.
You say he needs to go. Last Wednesday, we had David Davis saying that, for quoting something and saying, "For God's sake, go." Now, the thing is, when he goes, I mean, we find ourselves in serious situation at the moment. We have this NATO thing that is going on, Ukraine, Russia. Yesterday he was part of a meeting that took place late night. Now, and then we have the economy, we have Brexit that we've not actually sorted ourselves out, and come April, big time some situations are going to happen. Now, do you think that we'll have anybody who is going to be able to steady the ship to where we
actually they will. I think someone will emerge. I mean, someone will definitely emerge. Economic. I mean, whoever comes, knowing that these are the team like Richard Suna and others who have helped him steady the team. I think they will maintain some of them and they will keep some of them in their job. Again, they know Boris Johnson better. I mean, Rap and others are there. They should be Gulf and others are there. They should be able to carry on their Brexit agenda.
Well, listeners, this is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Actually, one thing with the British is they easily can turn. When they turn against you, it becomes difficult.
They easily adopt. The moment you and then
that's it. The public is turning aggressively against Boris Johnson. Look, I was watching certain interviews yesterday. Actually, it's bad. People just don't want to know. That someone. I mean, that one of these channels, the London something channel, the lady was crying and said, "Look, to think of the fact that her father was at the hospital, died. Not even would they even permit them to go and say the last respect, and to be thinking that she voted for Conservative." He said never again if Boris Johnson is still there. So basically the support for him is going down. Are you getting me? And that's how a society should be. You make the law, be seen as the one respecting the law.
The custodians of the law breaking the law. Okay, listen to Starr Radio UK. Now let's look at one interesting story that is coming up about who is going to sacrifice themselves for the public urge to sign up for COVID drug trial. Now the public is being over 50s. Frank would say he's not qualified yet.
Certainly not.
Okay, and younger adults, so everybody falls in there with underlying health conditions. You don't fall in
I don't have none.
Are being urged to participate in a study of a life-saving treatment for COVID-19. The study is open to those who test positive for COVID and had symptoms developed in the previous 5 days. Now, volunteers will be given pills to take home. The study will help decide how antiviral drugs will be used. Professor Sir Jonathan Van Tam, the Deputy Chief Medical Officer for England, said Health Secretary Sajid Javid asked everyone eligible to step forward and help us learn more about medicines which could save thousands of lives. Now, last Saturday we had the NHS, especially nurses, most of them who have decided that they are abstaining from the vaccine. They want to take the vaccine, and we are demonstrating that they will not be, because they are
a lot of them,
because they say if that
compulsory,
compulsory it goes on, then they're going to lose about tens of thousands of nurses. Now, people are even skeptical about that. Now you bring some medication that you say, okay, let's go.
I don't think they should even worry. I mean, what do you call it? Lilibalida Kestema tested not too long ago.
Yeah.
One candidate. You should step forward.
He's been tested positive.
He tests positive like no one else. You know, the serial positive. So he should be able to step out. If not, they should infect some of them.
Boris have also tested before.
They should reinfect. I mean, it's good. I mean, medically, I mean, we need to be able to do experiments and other things. And some of these drugs, before they come up, I mean, they would have gone through a bit of preliminary testing to know that
definitely.
to some degree they are safe for human beings before. And you know, they're banking on these antiviral drugs, which I mean will be used. I mean, if you look at antibiotics, similar thing happens. And if you look at, but one question others are going to ask is, which tablet do we have for flu? Do we have flu tablets, or do we have flu jabs?
We have flu jabs.
Okay, and then how come that we've not developed tablets for flu all this while, and why are we quickly developing tablets for this thing? Science is advancing. We cannot, I mean, discount what the scientists are doing, because to a large extent they have helped steady the ship to this up to this far. So people should avail themselves. Some of us, I mean, we don't think we qualify to be experimented on.
Well, he's ruled himself out. He said he doesn't qualify. He's healthy. He's what? He's not got any underlying issue, and he's not tested positive. Leave him alone.
Even if I've tested positive in the last few days, I don't think I'm qualified enough. So we wish them all the best, but we encourage. If you're listening to us and you've tested positive, please, you are being called on to help save the society. We'll celebrate you. Some of us have to remain here to comment about the celebration.
Okay. Well, listen to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 11:31. This afternoon, exactly at 1:30, we'll be bringing you BB Means Business with BB Clement. And today she's going to be looking at how to create your own brand. How to create your own brand. Brand Archie, Brand Frank, Brand Felix, Brand Kojodi. How would you create that? Well, you want to know more? Join her on that program exactly at 1:30 when BB Clement brings you BB Means Business. Okay, now some international stories as well. Now, Ukraine, U.S. troops on alert as West voices unity. Now, yesterday, President Joe Biden said that a total unanimity with European leaders over Russia troop build up on its border with Ukraine. Now, during crisis talks on Monday, Western powers agreed to unprecedented sanctions against Russia if it were to invade. The U.S. has also put 8,500 troops on alert, which Russia said caused its great concern. It denies having any plans for an invasion, but putting armored car vehicles and everything there, and I'm putting planes there as well, makes it inevitable that an attack is imminent. And they said virtually he was trying to do it such that when they strike, they've conquered. No two ways about it.
I don't think for the first time in a long time, I'm tempted to go with putting a bit of reasoning. Actually, there's something that the West is playing down on. You know, a few years ago, there was a conflict between part of Ukraine, the Crimea, and then Russia moved in and virtually controls them. Now, Russia is also saying that now the West is trying to help Ukraine to retake that place. That area is now being controlled by what they call people that are actually allies of Putin. They held a referendum and they decided to go independent. Now Ukraine is trying to take over that place. That's another equation that they are not looking at. That Russia is saying that Ukraine is trying to take over that place, and it is their responsibility to defend the Crimea. That's the way they're looking at it. So they will not strike. But when you try taking over Crimea, you're crossed, because as we speak, Ukraine is also building up. The West is building up over there. So the question is, are they going to leave Crimea alone, or they are going to invade that place? And if you invade that place, you basically legitimize the attempt to even come after you in your own territory. That's exactly what we're looking at.
But the Ukrainians will say that Crimea is part of ours.
Russia also said that. Then the Russia was also saying that Ukraine was part of ours in the past.
That was USSR, and that is
it. So that was also Ukraine, and Crimea is gone. At one point in time, someone is gone. So if Crimea is now gone, leave it to be gone.
Let's take an example of what happened that brought the first Gulf War. The annexing of Kuwait by Iraq. Saddam Hussein doing that at the time, and that started that war.
Yes,
because they said that it is a sovereign state. You cannot just go there and say I've annexed it, or this time around annexing part of it, because it's not part of. It's not yours.
Kuwait is not close to Iraq. Kuwait is not close to Iraq, like the way what they call it.
Crimea is close to Russia.
Yeah, it's not. So at the end of the day, that's a different story. But over here, Crimea has decided they want to go on their own. A referendum was held over there, and they are on their own. Leave them to stay on their own.
Did the Ukraine state sanction that referendum?
Why should the Ukraine state sanction it?
It's like secessionists. That's what we are saying across the globe.
Did Russia sanction Ukraine breaking away?
The USSR is no more.
Name has changed. Everybody's gone. Did they sanction it? They did sanction it, actually. They did sanction it. They should leave the Ukrainians alone. The people over there have decided it's an enclave. They've decided they want to be alone. They want to be aligned to basically Russia. Now the new leader in Ukraine is aligned to the West. It's aligned to the West and want to use that territory as a launching pad to take over the Ukraine and again provide easy access to launch attacks on Russia. And actually I think the West are not being frank with us, but again you dare say that they tell you your enemy of state. Every one of them that are speaking, they are being hypocritical. They are not telling us the truth.
Kojo was saying the other time that we'll try to see whether we can get the Ghana Kiche to give us on the ground report of what exactly they are feeling, because he's in Kiev and we are here. But you know, at times when you are outside, you are looking at things and you think that hey, there is Armageddon happening, but just inside think that oh, come on, chill. There isn't much happening there, or nothing will happen. But we'll try to arrange, listeners will try to arrange that to see whether we can get Dr. Kiche one of these days to have a chat with him, hoping and keeping fingers crossed that nothing untoward happens on that front. So do you think that the West with the sanctions that they are actually threatening Russia with will make Russia step down, or Russia will also...
I think we've gone past where threats and others sanction, what are they going to benefit from sanction? And again, you're going to sanction, they're also going to raise sanctions. So far we know sanctions have not worked with Russia. What we know is happening now is that the market forces are beginning to have effect a bit on Russia. Yesterday, for instance, the rupee was so low against the the US dollar and a pound. But that again will affect people if you're importing something. Stock markets were a little bit down because people are pulling their capital out of the system, fearing that there's going to be conflict and other things. That's what we have. But we shouldn't forget, Russia has another card to play. If I sell one bottle of Akweteshi for 20 Ghana, and now you're trying to affect my economy, and I know you need that Akweteshi, I'm going to jack the price up to 35, so that I know you cannot reduce the consumption of Akweteshi that much. So if you were paying me 20 Ghana today, you need to pay me 35 Ghana.
Yeah.
Or
and to make up for the losses that make up
so it is not a win-win situation for the West. It's never going to be a win-win situation for the West. You know.
Okay, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. What do you think? We want to have your take. So you can put it on our Facebook page until the lines are open at 12 o'clock, where we'll be hearing from you. But we are still looking at some of the international stories. The US Supreme Court will take up 2 cases this autumn that asks whether university-based admissions violate civil rights laws. Now, how the court rules could pave the way for a historic end to policies meant to help applicants previously seen to face discrimination. The case concerns admission at Harvard and the University of North Carolina. Their schools are accused of discrimination against Asian and white applicants. Now, you come to this part of the world, you want to go to Oxford and Cambridge. You know, predominantly we have the Caucasians there, and then we have the Asians coming in, and then a small percentage of the blacks in there. So now, taking Harvard, which is seem to be a black, more to do with black, and then they are saying that we want to do something to encourage our people to come in there, and now they're taking the whole thing to court for the court to adjudicate on that. How fair is that?
Actually, one thing I've never been a fan of is a situation where we discriminate against others just because we want to favor others. I have never been a fan of that at all. What people, or what I've always asked for, is a creation of a system that recognizes yet historical difficulties that some people would have gone through, which might have impacted their chances of probably crossing over a certain barriers. Now, once we're trying to address that, it has to be clear, it has to be opened. It shouldn't be that because you are black, you are being favored. I really wouldn't support such a move, that because you are black, you are being favored. You are black. Well, we're saying that because of the institutions that you went to, because of the systemic discrimination that you suffered, we will consider your A as probably A plus or something like that, if we factor in corrections that could have been made, or the opportunities that you could have, or the potential that you could have done a little bit better. Or we will expand our facilities, and the next expansion is we're taking on 100 people, we now want to take on 115. The next 15 will come for a special community. But we shouldn't be going to a point where we say, okay, we want to admit more blacks, and therefore Asians will reduce the number. They say we reduce the number, provided we put in structures that do not impact on people who otherwise could have qualified. Someone might have worked all through their life that they want to enter Cambridge, they want to enter Harvard, and they have worked that, okay, we know if I'm able to get a B plus, A minus, I should be able to, and that's what they studied for. Change of policy comes a year to the time they are supposed to enter. They made everything possible to get an A minus. They said today the cutoff point for people from these communities is A. Are you getting me? It doesn't sound for me something prudent. A minus can come, but we are putting additional resources into it to expand the facility so that we can accommodate or admit more people. That's fine. But no one is going to deny the fact that a lot of blacks have systematically been discriminated against and therefore need help. That one, anyone who argue against that, I wouldn't agree with the person. Let them go to the court if they can establish that, look, the universities have actually done things that discriminate against the black, because discrimination is discrimination. If it is established that they've done things that discriminated against the white or the Asians, then I think corrective measures should be.
Okay, listeners, we're going to take a break. Once we come back, we'll continue with the show. It's now 17 minutes to the top of the hour. Stay tuned, don't you go away.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
And the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 14 minutes to the top of the hour. With me in the studio is Mr. Frank Davis. I'm Archie, and we are bringing you all that you need to know. As I say all the time, if it's making the headlines, from archaeology to zoology, we'll be touching on that. So please stay tuned. Don't you go away. And once again, let me say happy birthday to my baby girl, Veronica. Yes, she's 21 today. She's a big girl now. Now you have to go start working and give your old man some money now. Okay? Good. Alright then, now let's move on to some other stories making the rounds today across the globe. Now, court win for indigenous women raped in Guatemala. Now, Guatemala highest court has sentenced 5 former paramilitaries to 30 years in prison for raping dozens of indigenous Mayan women during the country's civil war in the 1980s. Now, the men were members of so-called civil self-defense patrols, armed groups formed and supported by the military. The 36 victims were aged between 12 and 52 when the crimes happened. Prosecutors said there were massacres. Many people were raped, said Antonina Val, a survivor. It's the pain we have in our hearts. Now, why I picked this story up is the fact that across the globe, now, even now in Ethiopia, the Tigray area, they talked about people, raping the innocent people in all these things. And I asked myself the question, when will some people face a trial? Even no matter what trial they face, the people whose life have been lost because of this, people who have been raped. How can you
actually, history tells us that anywhere we have military going in or peacekeeping or whatever, people consider themselves as being in authority. and look at the most vulnerable people, in this case women, as those who they can abuse at any point in time. Look, you look at Ghana. When Ghana team entered Liberia, there were a lot of abuses. You look at what happened in Sierra Leone, there were a lot of abuses. Wherever there has been peace, even Iraq, as we speak, abuses are reported. Syria, abuses are reported. Now the question we do ask, or we have to be asking, the military itself, looking at all the historical things, what measure do they put in place that whenever there's engagement of this kind, whether during wartime, whether peacekeeping time, they make sure that their men do not go overboard. Sometimes I don't know whether they gang rape them, whether it's deliberate or they make this, okay, let's go into this community and rape them. We heard even about Myanmar when it was happening. There were a lot of rape cases as well. Actually, it's Nigeria today. We hear it on a daily basis. Here we are, even in this country, we hear of people, police officers who, if you ask us yesterday, abused. There's in Ghana, we are told of a police officer who has also been jailed for basically raping a lady that was in his custody. Actually, I do not have sympathy for people who commit such crimes. It doesn't matter whether you're a military, you're a soldier. I do think that people should be able to respect women and be able to look at them as human beings. If you like the person, the best thing, yes, you can talk to them, but to get to a point where you are abusing your position, you are abusing the uniform, the badge, to basically put them to give in to what ordinarily they wouldn't have done. If you dare, you're in conflict situation, your head is spinning, women should not be those who should be calming your head down illegally. You get me? I think they deserve to be punished.
Do you think that soldiers and those people, maybe if you have been an ex-soldier, you can tell us, those of us, the two of us, do they take some medicine, special medicine that makes them, maybe their hormones go whoo?
Actually, it's about frustration.
A
lot of soldiers go through a lot. Mentally, a lot of them go through a lot. Look, the suffering, soldiers suffer. There are certain conditions that they go through. I don't think I would be able. We had our friend who gave a story of how even the freezing cold. So they go through a lot of pressure, a lot of mental this thing, and as a direct result, they act out. Most of them act out, and again they are trained to believe that they're on top of the world at each point in time. We are captains, what do you call it, planet. Because I'm in British uniform, I have a weapon, I have AK-47, one of the most deadliest weapons. I'm on top of the world, and therefore I can abuse my position. And that is what has been the culture. Is yes, they take a bit of food that build their energy up, their estrogens or whatever what they call it. Yes, but I do not think those drugs or whatever they take will push them actually to do this.
Well, we don't know. If you are listening to us, maybe you're a military man, maybe you think that they give you some medicine and then hook you up, and you are thinking, who is the next victim that I need to approach? Please share with us. We're not saying that soldiers are all like that. No.
We've got fine soldiers.
Yeah, we've got fine, very, very fine soldiers.
It's more of a question of power play. Because whatever look, human beings, once we are in a position of power, we want to exploit it. And that is what you see even in Africa, that people who are occupying positions want to have sex with women before they employ them. Are you getting me? Even recently when I was in Ghana, there are complaints that I had. There are complaints that as I speak to you now, there's an issue I'm dealing with. A nurse who is supposed to be posted somewhere said, look, please help me out. I called a guy. I even called a guy. Said, please help me out. I I am a single parent. I have my son in this school. If you could help me be posted to this area, the man is asking to sleep with her before. If you're not going to help, say yes, I cannot help. Okay, so okay, fine. I can't do anything about it. By protocol, I am not supposed to do anything about it. I can't do anything about it. But the moment you begin to place a demand that, oh yes, I'll be able to help you, but you need to let me sleep with you, come and see me. I mean, this is a lady I've never met, but we became friends online, and you might have known the lady. I've told you about her before. She's the one who is now facing this.
Oh wow!
Are you getting? I spoke to the guy, and I told her, that's my sister. Can you help her out? Then he went back to the lady. How did you give your number to this? They said, oh, well, he's been helping me out. He was asking, how am I going to do with my son and other thing. And I told him, I mean, he should speak to you to see if you can help me out. Are you getting me? Anytime people see themselves in a position of power, they think they can oppress the others. And one way, especially men, they take undue advantage of women. And for me, people like that should not be spared. I mean, this man, if not because of something, I could have set him up.
Yeah, of course.
I could set him. I could set
and
him.
He will lose his job.
Go trying to use him. Record everything that was going on. Unless, you get me?
Yeah, but I hope that this what do you call it? Hashtag Me Too thing doesn't come to Africa.
No,
it will wipe them. Well, but beware, things take a long. It starts from somewhere, it comes to end somewhere else.
It's already happening. It's already happening in one way or the other. It's already happening. Women are not sitting down for that nonsense again. Now, I urge every woman not to accept such stupidity. You know.
Okay, listeners, 4 minutes to the top of the hour. Now we've arrived in Africa. Okay. Now, 8 killed in a crash at African Cup of Nations in Cameroon. And at least 8 people have been killed and 38 injured in a crash outside an African Cup of Nations football match in Cameroon. Now, videos showed crowds of screaming football fans being crushed at the entry gate, my apologies, to the Paul Biya Stadium in the capital Yaoundé. Now, witnesses described chaotic scenes outside the ground as thousands of fans struggled to get access. The death included a boy of 14 and 7 people were seriously injured. Cameroonian President Paul Biya has ordered an investigation into the crash and sent his deepest condolences to the families. The Confederation of the African Football has also launched its own investigation. Now you look at this story and it takes you straight to what happened during the Euros final. Was it last year?
Last year.
But for the fact that there were a bit of controls.
Was it last year or last 2 years?
It was last year. It was last year summer. Last year summer, because it was supposed to have been in 2020 and then it was pushed to 2021. So you look at what happened there, and you ask your question. But for the fact that the security agencies managed to do things properly, if not, there could have been a stampede and people could have lost their lives there. But what exactly happened? Why?
Actually, accidents do happen, and our condolences to the families. Sometimes you put every measure in place, but you cannot avoid 100% the occurrence of some of these things. But one would have assumed that, look, within the football environment, there has been attempts, or there has been resemblance of what we're witnessing. If you take our minds back to even what happened in Ghana a few years ago, where we had House of Folk and everything, we saw the stampede, we saw people who died and everything. So one would have expected that, look, we put in, what they call measures more to do some of this, but sometimes we ignore, or sometimes we assume. For me, it's more of assumption that we assume that everything is okay because we did it this way and nothing happened, and therefore crowd control is something that probably might have gone wrong over there. But we welcome the investigation. I hope that whatever investigation that they put in place will be so swift enough and not to hold it for years, that even the games are still ongoing. yesterday my team lost Comoros. We lost to Cameroon, and that's where the issue issue happened. I just hope that the investigations will be so swift that whatever findings comes in, they will use it for the matches that are ongoing, and it should be something that CAF should look at adopting, that okay, going forward to play a match, these are measures that we should put in place to avoid some of this. But accidents do happen, but we human beings can actually, if we put things in place, most of the accidents we can avoid them. Yesterday something happened in Ghana. There's a video at Ijisu. Last week we spoke, or we witnessed a devastating incident about the Begos Apieti or whatever. The following day there was a tanker explosion in Kumasi area. Okay. Yesterday actually at Jisu there was this truck, what they call it, grader or whatever, those who are able to take a lot of load, carrying a huge timber that they just cut, not even chop, crossing the town center. I'll show you. I mean, it's an eyesore, and you ask yourself, look, this is a machine. Anything can happen. Actually, when you see it, for people, for even someone to attempt to move that wood, that timber that way, I think there's something.
Why wouldn't they put it on
actually, when we finish, I'll show the video. It is so sickening. We don't learn because the wood is not an explosive. So it's okay.
If it falls and rolls onto somebody's property, somebody's car, it will cost lives.
Actually, it's bad. It's very bad.
Maybe one day we'll come out from the bush. But in the meantime, we are still in the bush. It's now a minute past 12 Starr Radio UK. The lines are open. You want to join in? It is 0208-133-2257 or 58. 0208-133-2257 or 58. Those of you in the US and Canada, you can get us on 0017183032737. 0017183032737. You can also text or WhatsApp at 0753966144, 0753966144. Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK, and email address is info@starradiouk.com. info@starradiouk.com. Whatever you do, get in touch and let your voice be heard. With me in the studio, Mr. Frank Davis, and I'm Archie. We are bringing you all the other stories making the rounds, and this time around from the African continent. Yesterday we came on when they talk about the coup d'etat that's taking place in Burkina Faso. Now, international pressure is mounting on Burkina Faso coup leaders to release deposed President Roch Kabore following claims by his party that he had survived an assassination attempt. Now, UN Chief Antonio Guterres, spokesman, said he was following developments in Burkina Faso with deep concern and was particularly worried about the whereabouts and safety of the deposed president. Mr. Guterres called on the coup leaders to lay down their arms. The military has not given details about Mr. Kabore, but said the coup had been staged without violence and all those detained were in secure location. The African Union said the international community should combine their efforts to oppose any use of force to resolve the crisis in Burkina Faso. The military said it had seized power because the government's failure to defeat militant Islamists who have caused havoc in the region since 2015. Let me bring you some more stories relating to this, and then we can talk about that as well. Now, a presenter on a state TV in Burkina Faso has read out a letter purportedly, my apologies, written by President Roch Kabore to announce his resignation after he was toppled in a coup. The handwritten letter was shown on TV in a news bulletin on Monday night. Now, with this letter and in the best interest of the nation and following events that have taken place since yesterday, January 23, I have decided to resign from my position as president of Burkina Faso, head of the government and supreme commander of the National Armed forces. The letter was addressed to the president of the Patriotic Movement for Safeguarding and Restoration of the MPSR, the French acronym by which the junta is known. Now, the last story, then we can go on the discussion now. The French president Emmanuel Macron says the situation in Burkina Faso appears to be calm. A day after the military seized power, he condemned the coup and said ousted President Roch Kabore was in good health and not being threatened. The United Nations has called for the immediate release of Mr. Kabore, who is being held at an army base. Now, we have the French, who are the masters of the French-speaking countries, and we have the UN, who oversees everything.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like what the ECOWAS did as well, when it comes to things not being done properly in the country, when it comes to citizens suffering, citizens losing their life, we'll take a typical example of what is happening in Nigeria at the moment, where people daily are losing their lives and their wealth and everything. Now, and when something happens, then we have them coming to say, release that person, reinstate him, and do this, and let everybody calm down. But when the people are suffering, there was nobody there to actually help them in that front. And the military stepped in now.
Actually, it's a very, very difficult situation, and one will ask, is it coincidence, or is it just kind of past words, mere coincidence, that we have coups happening in French-speaking West Africa? Is it just mere coincidence? Now, if it is a case that we do have problems within those sub-regions, knowing that these countries report and basically are controlled to a large extent by the French, what role has French, or what hand has French as a country, France, got in the total mismanagement, the poverty, the looting of resources in this area? Because at the end of the day, actually, what we're talking about bread and butter issue, right? Here we're talking about coup. The difficulties that a leader in the French-speaking country is exposed to is enormous. Here you are in your country, your resources are being controlled by the French. When the UN is talking about coup, they should be looking at causes of those coups. What is leading to poverty in some of those areas? Why is it that a chunk of the people in those areas are so poor, desperately poor, only the few at least that benefit? Are you getting me? What are they doing about the historical structure, the post-colonial structure that still colonize or still takes control of the resources of these people? Most of these people, their armies are controlled again by France. They supply them with the weapons, they train them, and it will be very difficult to see how coups are going to be taking place without a bit of French influence in those areas. For me, I see it as very, 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 very difficult. Now, actually, the coups will continue to happen in those areas unless we change the structure of the economic situation over there. And the French government, the French government should be equally responsible for doing that. And the UN people should be bold and now say, look, the historic distance that has resulted in economic difficulty in those areas can no more survive the time. I just hope, let's see if some of these coup makers will dare make attempt to change those structures.
They wouldn't. You remember? Was it a couple of years ago when the French, the French-speaking countries in Africa were trying to, West Africa, were trying to say that they were not going to use the CFA again, and therefore withdrawing, and they want to use the ECO. Is it the currency for the sub-region? You saw what went on there?
That was last 2 years when the ECO was. The French were backing up. The French-speaking countries were backing up. Again, those of us who condemn coups and other things, both the coup makers and those who are toppled, what are they doing to change the structure? Because at the end of the day, we are recycling. It's just the problem moving from one leader and it will go to another leader.
Same old
story without any. what they call it, the poor people will continue to suffer.
Well, listeners, good afternoon once again. 8 minutes or 9 minutes past the top of the hour, and we have the one and only Kojo D in South London who has joined in. Kojo, good afternoon.
Hi.
How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm all right. Yeah, I can hear Frank.
Yes.
There's certain a lot of issues, which is good.
Okay. I don't know which one you want to pick up, and
we can continue with what Frank is talking about. All these coup d'etats, and Frank is right. Okay. Removing one leader and putting another leader in place. How big this one is not through the ballot box. It is actually through the military. It doesn't actually solve the problem in Burkina Faso, Chad, Mali, Mauritania, or Niger. Look, those countries really have taken a real battering from the jihadists. Blaming France, I'm not sure how blaming France will also, although France people believe should have done more to provide military assistance to fight the jihadists. But to some large extent, those countries' own population are the jihadists. Nigeria has the same problem. Is a former colonial master providing a lot of support? The answer is probably no. So the countries themselves should be in a position to do more. Somebody will say they are slightly poorer countries. Fine, there might be poorer countries, but have they also done a lot to engage the international community to come in and help, rather than they trying to be toppling one leader after the other? I mean, it wasn't too long ago that Burkina Faso people were on the street and removed their infamous Kabore. And people thought that would bring a new change to the country. But has it really? So, recycling various leaders. What is the military going to do? Are they going to engage in a full war with the jihadists? And they citing one of those examples why they've removed the president. What was the military and the military leaders doing themselves? Couldn't they have advised the president they removed from office? I mean, I thought that is a logical thing to do, that the defense and the military should have had a strategy under the president they've deposed to remove the jihadists. But citing that as a reason that he had been unable to deal with the jihadist issue is flimsy for me.
But this Buhari should have been gone a long time with that.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, these same military leaders could have worked with the president to curb the incursions of these jihadists. I think they just wanted to stage a coup and get into power. That's what they wanted to do, and they managed to do it. That's they've looked at what has happened in some Mali and all and those other places where the people go in and without any real bloodshed. So they said they thought they could also do the same, and they have planned this. It wasn't planned overnight. They planned it over a period of time and actually executed what they wanted to do
peacefully. Peacefully.
I mean, it's just a change of personality. And the problems will never change. They'll still have their economic difficulty. Even if France decide to step in and help them economically, they will still have loads and loads of economic difficulty. So it is not either France supporting them security-wise to fight the is what is going to stop it.
Okay, so
what are they going to do different from what the previous president has done?
Maybe get some more foot on the ground. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. My point still remains. Look, if they think the president wasn't doing enough to fight the jihadists, these same military leaders who have taken power, why couldn't they have advised the president? If the president wasn't a military man, there would have been the chief of staff, there would have been the military chief of staff I'm referring to, there have been army generals, army commanders, all these lieutenant colonels who have staged the coup. The coup have also all been strategic, in fighting the advising the president as to how best to deal with the jihadist issue.
But because at times we have the situation where these leaders think that what they are doing or their idea of fighting or curbing a particular situation is the best, and wouldn't listen to any other voice from outside, and that seems to be the trend.
Now, Archie, when it comes to the military, I think the military high command has more of power when it comes to effective fighting of some of the jihadists, because most of these leaders might not be military men. Now, unless of course they are telling us that the jihadists, for which we've had people making those comments in the past, that the creation of those jihadists alone works in the interest of the French. Because at the end of the day, there are mineral deposits that the more there's trouble, the more they control that area. And therefore, when Libya issue started, we now see from Chad, Niger, and all those, the French have deployed their soldiers and over there, and therefore they are controlling those areas. And there, we had what happened in Mali. Again, we had the rebels and all that, and people were saying, okay, to some extent, these rebels are lying or are helping the Malis. So what happened in Nigeria, where we are told that charities belonging to the sponsored by the French government are part of the setup of Boko Haram, going around, providing medication, shelter, and other things for some of these Boko Haram. Now, are these military trying to tell us that, look, the leader of their country is being prevented from, or is actually not acting because some forces are holding his hand? Are we having a situation where the military wanted to move, but they said no? They said no. Let's deal with this way because our partners are saying this. The military need to come clearer on that, because if the charges against their leader is that he's not fighting the insurgents effectively, whilst they are those with the gangs, they are those with those who should basically implement operationally what should be done, then I think there are more questions to answer in my view. Again, you can't rule out the French involvement in whichever way you look at it. You can't rule it out in my view.
Because do you think that maybe it's a ploy to get the leaders, where it's a constitutional, because Frank was citing an example of the unrest in Chad, Mali, and all those places, and saying that the French soldiers are taking control over that particular area, and therefore the minerals in those areas is being harnessed for the French. Now, do you think that it's a ploy to get the leaders, who maybe at times becomes a bit of a stumbling block to them, from there, by using this means to like coup d'etat to rid them off that?
Well, there had not been any established links with either French involvement in the coup, so I don't think we're going to speculate on this. On the other hand, the French has rather condemned the activities. So, but if there had been a speculation of French security forces involved, then fine. But I think the situation with jihadism and ISIS in that part of Africa across to Libya, is an issue that needs to be dealt with. Or whether the international community is ready to deal with it is a different issue. Blaming these people elected by the ballot box for not being effective isn't going to be the answer. Look, trust me, have we seen a change in the situation in Mali?
No, not yet.
No, we haven't. Have we seen any change in Chad? We haven't. Neither have we seen any change in Niger. The situation, if not the same, the people are still struggling on, fighting all these jihadist people. So the people who have taken power wanted to take power. I mean, that is how I see it. And they are not going to bring any change. Whether the French are involved indirectly or directly, that still hasn't changed the situation on the ground. The situation on the ground keeps going the same. So it's just a reshuffle. That's why I agree with Frank that it's just a reshuffle of personnel. which I don't think at this time is really needed. I mean, because to deal with that issue in that sub-region, all the other sub-regional heads should be working towards dealing with jihadism in the area. Yeah. Are we going to say if the jihadis are also in Cameroon, which hadn't brought any change there? On the other hand, because Pobia is a very strong man, nobody will attempt any coup on him. He purges people out. He purges every opposition out. Once he sniffs like a dog sniffing around cocaine, he just purges you out. So those are some of the issues in that part of the sub-region. I mean, there have been numerous coups that have happened in that part of the region, and there have been a kind of a breather for a while. Those same bad old days seem to have returned.
But gentlemen, let me ask you a question. This one, when I woke up about Dagoudi Slips, I was pondering over lots of things. Now I was talking about the fact that when yesterday we did touch on that briefly, where they said that when there's a coup d'etat, it sets a country back a number of years. And I was of the view that look, let's take the case of this coup that has happened. They've not destroyed any infrastructure. Nothing has been destroyed. All the fact that what has happened is that they truncated the operation of the government. Okay, so assuming they do that, and then all those who have, stolen monies and involved in shady deals are dealt with, how does it set us back? Because the majority of people are struggling and they need to be fended for first.
Actually, like any other situation, you cannot pass a blanket judgment. I do not think it would be right to say all coups have resulted in setting the country back. If you take the deposing of al-Bashir, for instance, you know, when you say the intervention over there was anything bad. This is a leader who in his bedroom had $100 million stashed over there. Meanwhile,
they went for a loan outside.
Meanwhile, they were looking for a loan of $20 million to be able to put the infrastructure agenda forward. Such a thing, disposing him through military means you're not going to be, you're not going to say, okay, look, we've set the country back. I think it's gonna be a case by case basis.
Okay,
but what we do know is that in a democracy there are certain functioning of institutions that takes time to build, institutional memories that takes time to be able to build. If a coup comes in and destroyed some of those or take back those, yes, you will be able to say that it's going to take us a long time to be able to get to those stages. When you look at international relations, geopolitics, the relationship with, let's say, financial markets, where credibility, I mean, in this country, for instance, if you move from house to another today, okay, you are asked within the next to provide a record of where you've lived, and within a year you've moved 5 houses. no bank is going to be interested in, I mean, even lending you money. That is same thing, because your credit record with those, I mean, people who will be lending you money, they think, no, this money is someone who is unstable,
risky.
Tomorrow he will even be on a boat, and we can even when we send bailiffs, they might not even be able to go on a boat to arrest him because they'll be flat. Are you getting me? It's the same thing. If you're dealing with international community and you're gonna be loaning money, or they're going to borrow you money to do certain infrastructure projects, agreements are based on laws. And if basically a military coup throws away a set of laws that regulates every institution or the institution that is taking the loan, I mean, why will I be confident enough to be able to pump? And that's why they will tell you democratic institution, and that's one credit to Ghana's advantage. If you look, Ghana for 30 years now,
we have that stable,
stability, and therefore investors say, so well, it's a credible system that yes, we might have our problems and that, but when I put my money in here, when I invest over here, tomorrow my factory is not going to be bulldozed down. Their legal system that will look at every challenge or most of the challenges that are going, instead of the military coming today decreeing that okay, every foreigner Ghana park and go and all those and all those. So I mean, you're gonna look at it differently, and it has to be case by case with it. But generally, we know military could set countries back generally, but you cannot again, like we take, like I said, Bashir issue is a classic example of where it's a victory for the people. You know.
Yeah. So that's exactly what Frank has said. In general, military could set countries backward. But because there's issue of trust, there is issue of working with the international community. There is the issue of these people, are they legitimate leaders of the country? If they can take the gun and remove an elected leader of the country, then they can probably do anything. So if you look at examples elsewhere to what the military has done to various countries when they took over, that is why it sets countries back. But basically, nobody within the international community, like Frank said, doesn't want to work with such military leaders because they are not proven to have come in the right way. And could it also be another chance that another person want to hoist them from office? Yes. Could I? So you can tell. I mean, in the 70s and the 80s in Ghana, you can tell how many coup attempts and how many successful coups and unsuccessful coups took place. So that is a general trend. You can see the same in Nigeria in the 70s and 80s. I mean, so many coups took place, successful and unsuccessful. So that is what really sets the country back, because nobody really wants to work. Investors don't want to put their money in a country that hasn't really looked stable or have a stable governance or have a stable leadership or democratic systems where they can rely on and say, we're not going to be put into a tribunal where our investment disappears overnight. Assets will not be frozen by the military. So those are some of the things that really negatively impact on countries. So Frank was citing the example of credit rating. So the credit rating, the rating agencies in a country will downgrade. The three main agencies will just downgrade the country's ratings. So nobody is ready to lend to the country. No viable institution wants to do business in the country. So if you see, when there's a military coup, a vast majority of businesses start unfolding and disappearing from the country. And for now, most countries, most multinational companies will not set up permanent structures. A lot of them are just renting up places. So if there's an issue, they just pack up and leave. So that is the issue at stake, really. But where there's real suppression of the people, you see that the international community even rallies behind the coup plotters.
But let me ask you.
That's where Bashir comes in.
But let me ask you guys another question here. Now we have an issue where the Sudanese they were agitating. Now we have Ivory Coast where we could see blatantly that Ouattara was virtually breaking the constitution. Nobody was saying anything. Okay, now we have Guinea where they went for an election. The president was it Guinea? Yeah, the president skewed the whole election and decided and it's been swept away. Now the international communities were not saying anything. But people agitating. Okay, so if it happens that we don't want people to take such action, can countries individually approach this and say you need to act now or else?
Again, you need to plug the whole equation again into the structures that we have who your master is, in this case your godfather. Every country in Africa has a godfather.
Yeah.
Call it that way. Every country in Africa has a godfather. Now it depends on the cards your godfather is playing, whether you are in their good books or not.
Yeah.
Togo is a classic example where human rights abuses have been rampant over the years, where we know democratically the Iyadema dynasty has actually done a lot to hurt the country, has done a lot to basically push to the background, I mean, what everybody will call decent democracy. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
But he's been supported all through by the French. Are you getting me? Why? Because Togo is a very strong candidate, stable candidate within the sub-region when it comes to influencing the French. What they do, we spoke about the ECU. French is one of those countries that oppose it. I mean, Togo was one of those countries that opposed it, backing from France. So at the end of the day, you look at it. I mean, if you look at Mugabe, for instance, the West were against him. So any little thing that Mugabe did, the coup, yes, he also played into it. We held it. They held it. So now, if you look at what is happening in Ouattara, is Ouattara kowtowing to the details of his and the answer is yes. Once you're doing it, why, if this story that we are hearing is true, if it is true that Ouattara has now imported French special forces to be his bodyguards, if that story is true, we yet to verify it. Why will a country want to sanction that? Why will a French authority want to sanction that? Are you getting me? Why would they want to sanction it? Because constitutionally, you are the commander-in-chief of your armed forces, and the armed forces constitutional has the sacred responsibility of protecting their president and the territorial integrity of the country. Now, if the story is true, and I use the word if it is true that we have 80 soldiers in the country, you basically are inviting foreign forces without due cause. Without due cause, you were not being invaded. Nothing. It wasn't that the country was at war. Are you getting me?
And you have to be paying them as well.
You have to be paying them with the country's resources. You don't even have to worry because the money is already in their bank. The money is in there. So again, it looks at who your godfather is and what you're doing. No one, I mean, all this COVID issue, if you take Ghana as a template, anything that the West UK wants to do, I mean, Akufo-Addo goes to announce it quickly. The day they were, I mean, even lifting sanctions over that, the same day they were also lifting sanctions to Ghana. You add them, what these people are announcing, data-driven decisions.
What is driving your
emotion and godfather-driven decisions. So you're gonna look at who your father is. So Ouattara, Togo, even Benin. Benin. Benin is a country that we don't talk about.
Be quiet
they be quiet. But what they are actually chess players within the sub-region. That man has been there for long. Chess players within the sub-region. So who are your father? And the French will do anything to protect their interests, and that's what they've done. They are one of the most wicked, and I keep on saying, one of the wicked colonial masters that ever occupied Africa.
Well, that's how Frank is calling them. But well, when does a sovereign state cease to be a sovereign state? Where, like, we went to Gambia. I mean, when Yahya Jammeh was there after the election, we thought that no, something until what's going to happen. We're telling them no. Yahya Jammeh accept defeat and then move from there, and he wasn't. And then the ECOWAS were threatening and stepped in there. So what could have been another coup d'etat? Assuming some of them were thinking that what he was doing wasn't right and what he stepped in was averted. But when does a sovereign state become a sovereign state?
No, when you look at Yahya Jammeh's situation, I will just pick it up, try to pick up the pieces. Hopefully, I'm analyzing it correctly. I mean, they are what? They are neighbors of Senegal. So they are technically they are neighbors of Senegal. So if something goes wrong there, the repercussions will be on Senegal. So if you realize that when Yahya Jammeh refused to leave, because here you can see playing that there is an issue here he's lost the election, he should move on. And there have been a lot of human rights abuses under him, which everybody agreed. But you see, Senegal got involved in the whole thing, and Senegal was a country that provided a huge number of soldiers to go and remove him from office. So, but if you look at the situation with Ouattara, when his predecessor refused to leave office, who provided soldiers? The French,
the Godfathers,
the Godfathers provided soldiers. ECOWAS didn't say anything. ECOWAS just went quiet. And again, ECOWAS could have been involved to go and remove him. But ECOWAS went quiet. They didn't say much. They didn't criticize him. So ECOWAS has a form in doing that kind of thing. They don't criticize other people. It's only when there is a coup that they decide we are going to talk. But when there is no coup, the sitting president decide to truncate the constitution and change the constitution, they don't say hoot. They just leave it. So that is a situation in West Africa. And I think the military there had realized that, look, ECOWAS is powerless. If we take arms, ECOWAS is not coming in to fight us. They are not sending in soldiers because they want peace in the country. So they decided we will do it, and they've already seen other countries done it, and ECOWAS couldn't do anything. The AU couldn't do anything. So they will do it, and let's see what they do. And it's all instable because of the huge instability, and we could be seeing, look, a similar thing probably happening in Ivory Coast. If the French disappear from the scene, right? French soldiers are already there, so it's not only that they are providing security to the president. They're already there. They installed him in power when his predecessor refused to leave. So they're already there. So if the French leave that part of the world, somebody else could occupy the vacuum. So that is the situation, and I don't know how that is going to change. For vast majority of French West Africa.
Well, listeners, 12:36 from the House of London, Starr in the UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In South London is Kojo D. With me in the studio, Mr. Frank Davis. I'm Archie, and we are looking at some of the stories making the rounds. Yes, we've just finished with what is happening in Burkina Faso and its effect or impact on the sub-region in Africa, the West Africa sub-region. But what do you think? Are we going to see the mimicking of what has taken place in Burkina Faso as well in other places? Somebody says, we don't want to be set back, but what do you think? Feel free and call in or share your take with us. But now let's go to Ghana. Now, Gbagbo tackles Kandapa over use of mere to describe the 8th Parliament. Now, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association organizes a 3-day workshop, and Kandapa calls for consensus building in the 8th Parliament. Gbagbo touts the unique nature of the 8th Parliament. The Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Alban Gbagbo, did not take it kindly when National Security Minister Albert Kandapa, when he used the word mere to describe the current 8th Parliament, often referred to as a hang based on its composition. Albert Kandapa, taking his turn to address participants at this year's Commonwealth Parliamentary Association workshop, touched base with Ghanaians' parliamentary practices. He described the current happenings in the 8th Parliament, which include fist cuffs between MPs as one which constituted a parliamentary crisis. The National Security Minister further labeled the 8th Parliament as a mere hung parliament. Now, I've been saying this all along that in the 30 years of this democracy, we've not seen a parliament like this, a hung parliament. Therefore, the government in power always had the majority to just push things through. But this time around, where we are at a stalemate, and therefore you have to be able to actually convince the others that this is what we want to do, and let them take it on board before you go on. We have all this, and now we have the security. The national security chief saying that, well, this is just a mere parliament, and it's not taking it easily at all.
Yeah, actually, whilst we're on the security, let me pay our tribute and condolences to a lady who just passed on to glory. Brigadier Constance Emefa Ajene Afenu, the first women brigadier in Ghana Armed Forces ever.
Oh wow!
Who we lost yesterday at the 37 military hospital. Information is that he went to a saloon, collapsed, was rushed to 37, and ended up dying shortly. She was at a party that a friend of mine even attended just 2 weeks ago. And there's a woman who rose through the ranks. I mean, from 1980, when she had an appointment, rose through the rank to become one of the most respected and reverend military officer in Ghana Armed Forces. May her soul rest in perfect peace. And we hope that her stewardship to the Ghanaian Armed Forces and the people of Ghana, represented us even with UN appointments, became the UN deputy commander when it came to peacekeeping issues in 2019. We hope that others will look at her and say, look, this is not a field that is reserved and a preserve of the men. If MFA could have did it, then others could also look at it and say, okay, look, we've done it because our mom has done it before. May her soul rest in peace, and we wish the family Yako.
So rest in perfect peace.
Actually, the issue about Kendapan describe it. I personally, I don't see where the fuss is coming in here. Bagman is right, because he must protect basically the image of parliament, and he's now seen as the father of this current parliament, and therefore any description that does not augur well, or that goes to basically taint the image of the seat that he occupied, he's 100% right to react. But my view is that Ken Dapa, the words that he used is actually a description of mentally the way the government currently thinks. Because we are not used to this kind of parliament composition and structure, they're not seeing the new dynamics that they need to work with. To them, we can bribe our way through. And indeed, Archie, before the recess, we have reports. I spoke to an MP directly who was being offered money from NDC side to accept those money in bags were brought to Parliament House. Oti Bless, an MP from Kwanta, I spoke him directly. They were being induced with money to accept, to back down
on the e-levy.
Are you getting me? So when the finance minister said we'll get it done, they think money can buy conscience of everyone at all times. Are you getting me? So the government, as we speak now, has not accepted the fact that, look, we are a new dispensation. Yes, we are the executive, but the structure of our constitutions is such that Parliament must keep a check on the executive. And here we are now, we do not have a bunch of fools, stooges, people who can just say, oh yes sir, master, but I concur. They knock table back, well done. That is not exactly what we do have in our system, and therefore people are going to be more basically serious about the way they conduct their business. People are going to be more prudent in their dealings. I've just had a report from one MP from Akan constituency in KJB area. Actually, for the first time, I applauded. This is a man who gave out his V8 Land Cruiser because he said, look, the insurance on that car alone will cost about 42,000 Ghana cedis a year. Now, to maintain that car, e-levy and other things, that he's looking at spending 60,000 Ghana cedis just to be riding in V8. Okay? I said, no, my constituent, that money could provide about 25 mechanized boreholes.
Wow.
And therefore gave up. So there's a new dynamism and there's a new, way of people beginning to think that we must work this way. Actually, you see, that mentality between Christmas recess to date, right? Parliament resumes today. Just last week, Ken Oforiatta was telling us that today, what do you call it?
They will pass the
saying. Over the weekend, Chairman Sambozo had to invite certain editors and journalists to his rich residence, ostensibly to bribe them to carry basically narratives that push the government agenda about e-levy.
Wow.
Are you get me? One thing that they have failed to do, however, is to engage the public. They told us they were going to go out there to engage. They failed on that. They told us they were going to engage the opposition. They failed grossly on that. Are you getting me? So you see the mentality. Oh, it's just in numbers. It's just a mere hang parliament. We can bribe our way through. We can do whatever we do. That kind of arrogant posture without thinking that, look, these are lives. We dealing with people's life. We dealing with survivor of a whole, a country. We dealing with people who, look, I do Kaya today. I transfer
money to my mother in the village to go buy some
the bread and butter of people over here. This is not taxing income. This is taxing transactions. It's not like pay as you earn, pay as you give. That is what is saying today. Pay as you give. Are you getting me? But I tell you about this. The government thinking. So I'm not surprised at all. I am not surprised at all that Kendapa, the security minister, who under whose watch military were deployed to invade parliament, which in my view was a coup in itself, attempted coup in itself in certain jurisdictions. He should be out of the office by now. Who describe this composition as just a mere. He doesn't see the seriousness of the decision that was taken on 7th December 2020 by Ghanaians. He doesn't respect the choice, the decision that Ghanaians have made. That's all.
Kojo, let me find out from you now. Ahmad Bagman has been talking about that. Look, you need to try. Or Kendapa also mentioned that they need to try to work together. Put it that way. That they need to form a consensus on issues. But when we see an opposition party, all that they want to do is to get government discredited, in your policy. So anything that you bring, you try to look and punch holes in it so that it gives them the upper hand, so that should we go for an election, they can win. Do you think there can be a consensus built along these lines?
I think there's always consensus in Parliament. That is why the budget in the first place went through. There was a consensus. They all agreed that the budget is okay. Don't let us delay any further so that things can continue working in the country. But there's always an element of disagreement where why couldn't the majority, as they are known now, which the reason is a hung parliament, the reason is a clear majority for any single party. Why couldn't the majority also stretch their arm and say, look, we want to work with the opposition. Look, this is what we want to table. And the opposition too are saying no. Can you have a look at this e-levy? And the opposition is raising, the whole issue is around the e-levy. Look, the minority, which is opposition in parliament, agreed that the e-levy should not stop the budget from being passed. So they went ahead and passed. So that is a consensus they built. But the e-levy is the current NPP government's policy, which the opposition minority have looked at, and they think this is not in line with what we want to do with the people in the country. We don't want to impose further taxes on the people. So, as a matter of fact, is an opposition against further taxation of the people. And you and me know that nobody likes to pay taxes.
Yeah, of course.
So, over here, they had a majority. They pushed through. In the UK, as an example, they pushed through the 2.5% tax raise. Look, essentially, national insurance is another form of tax.
Yeah.
So they've slapped 1.25 on the employer, 1.225 on the employee. So that's 2.5 together, all raise tax for the government. The government has a majority, so they managed to get it through. But as of today, they are thinking of, do we have to hold it back a bit because of the economic situation in the country? But when you look at what is happening over there, they are not looking at the difficulties that the economy is facing at the moment. Right now, the economy in Ghana is in a difficult situation. Look, the credit referencing agencies for countries, such as Finch, had already downgraded the country's economy. So even borrowing will become a tough thing for the government. So if they are pushing one narrative and the opposition is saying, look, we also don't want this narrative. We don't want further. Look at how many strikes. The public universities are in the third week of strike.
Yeah.
So all is not well with the country.
Kojo, let me give you some information over. Let me share some confidential information with you. Look, on the contrary, I think the NDC did what they needed to do to get this e-levy passed. In fact, some of the MPs were even begging supporters to forgive them. Actually, when this thing started, the first position, and I'm going to give you specific instance, the first position NDC took was no.
Yeah.
They were not going to.
Yeah.
Do you recall that Haruna came out publicly to say, oh, I mean, 1% is something
I was going to come to that eventually.
I can tell you on authority that negotiation went on from the speaker's office.
Okay.
My father was involved in that negotiation. Kofiato was involved in that negotiation. NDC said no. The government came publicly, openly, and gave them the books and told them, look,
we are desperate.
We are desperate and in a desperate situation. The NDC went and said, look, expenditure needs to be cut, especially the president's office and other things. You've heard me say that before.
Yeah.
They were not ready to cut that expenditure. So upon negotiating and begging, NDC is okay, we'll stand on 0.5. However, instead of transaction tax, we should first increase the threshold some people are paid. Before some people pay
that.
Secondly, we should take out the that it should be transaction. It should be something that what they call it. There's a way is that paying for certain services that the tax. They said the tax should even go first to tax the telco. The percentages that the telco take, it should be what we should be taxing, not the transaction. Then they negotiated. Then NDC went to what they call it 1.0.
Okay.
The MPP came. Afenyomakin was part of this meeting. The MPP agreed, okay, they will come to 1.5. So they were 1% and 1.5. Do you know what happened? MPP just went out. Afenyomakin, you recall, granted an interview to Joy FM.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, they might be looking at 1.5. 24 hours later, what do you call it? The finance ministry came to say, oh, they are not changing anything, it's going to be 1.75. Then the NDC went back and said, okay, it means we've wasted our time trying to negotiate. We reverse our curtains back to zero, and that is where it started. That is exactly what has brought us this far. That NDC were ready to compromise on 1%.
What should be the situation? That's what we're talking about. It's okay if you are desperate, cut your expenses, and then we can say that okay, let everybody contribute, but at a lower rate. Let's start from there. But well, now do you think that what is going to happen now is to maybe get the glue on the speaker's chair every time? Yes, you have to be there. You can't run away.
No, if you do that, if you do that, the speaker has a lot of cards to play.
Okay.
If the speaker really want to frustrate this government, all he would do is to call for a secret ballot.
Okay, yeah.
He can be then called for a secret ballot.
Okay.
And as we speak, Archie, the number of MPP MPs who are against this tax.
Yeah.
So the speaker has a lot of cards to play.
Okay.
And this verbal diarrhea that MPP is running doesn't work. It's not going to work. The speaker has a lot of cards to play. He can say, okay, on this motion, I understand their sentiments from both sides. I understand the government, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to give the honorable men of this house an opportunity to express this true feeling they have to by allowing a secret ballot. Actually, that will kill it.
So they should do that. Do you think that is the way to go now? Could you?
Well, I think we've all come to that understanding that there has to be a consensus building, and I mean, to get to that consensus, other things, the ruling government will have to understand that they have to let go of other things. I mean, if you go to Uganda, e-levy is 1%. There's another African country that the e-levy is only 0.2%.
Cameroon.
Yeah. Cameroon.
And even that they are protesting.
0.2%.
Yeah.
They are protesting. So if the opposition decided that we will agree at 0.5% and let it go, why didn't the government take it? I mean, just like you agree with me, actually, when in our early practice days as journalists, when VAT was introduced and it became Kumipreku issue, it was introduced at a lower rate. And gradually it got to where they wanted it to be. So and I don't think after that people didn't really realize the gradual adjustment every year.
Because they were used to it in some way, somehow. Push it.
So they could have started as low as 0.5%. And I'm sure that people that have taken a calculator and said, oh, okay, 0.5% of 100 Ghana cedis is 50p. So they would say, we'll let it go. But the people are looking at, wow, you're taking nearly two cities from
100 cities.
Yeah. And that is a watch it buying price. They will like it. They will like it. So they are reluctant, and I think other tactics they played, which they denied that wasn't the issue, had dragged this issue on. And but like I think we all know, it's not going to wash now. It's going to have a difficult time. I've seen some of the education material they've put across. It doesn't sound to me as education material. It sounds to me as another electioneering leaflet.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen one day why we levy what they intend to do it for, but that is a simplistic way of putting it across to people, and I don't think people will really going to buy into it. So you want to cast the tax net wide to catch other people, so does it mean all those people who are unemployed, who have to scrape the barrel for a bit of money? Are you going to tax them?
I think even that argument that they is false, because VAT is tax.
Yeah.
There's no one in Ghana who is not paying VAT. So the argument, the whole argument that look, a wide number of people are not paying tax is false. We need to then classify what sort of tax. If they are saying a wide number of people are not paying income tax, I agree.
Yeah, I was going
but
to say
e-levy is not income tax.
Yeah.
E-levy is not income tax.
There's a threshold that somebody should get before you tax the
That's
person.
it.
So
And
the person
e-levy is not income tax. E-levy is transaction tax.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So that's why we're likening it more to VAT, because they are all indirect.
That is
kind
it.
of taxation.
Yeah.
So
Go on.
I don't think this is going to end really. We haven't seen the end of it. The opposition will make sure it doesn't go through Parliament. They're going to make sure, employ all that they can, so that it doesn't. And if it slips through and goes through Parliament and gets approved, as the MPP is hoping to do, that is going to be a difficulty for them going forward.
It's approval, it will be approved. But what NDC is going to do is going to make sure that they state their opposition clear in the minds
that's what
of
I'm
Ghanaians,
saying.
and they're going to do this. Look,
that's what I'm saying.
The day you heard Kofi, you heard what do you call it? Gabi went to Mohammed's house. They had a meeting, and Akufo. In fact, it wasn't Gabi who was speaking to. It was Akufo-Addo who requested that he wants to have a conversation with Mahama. In fact, Mahama office called the speaker. In fact, I was previous to some information. Called the speaker to seek advice and other things, and all is because of e-levy. Gabi went there only to give a phone because Akufo-Addo was not confident to speak to Mahama on any other. That was it. Gabi's role was to go there so that Mahama will speak to
hold on. Let's speak to them and then give his phone to you, and then
Akufo-Addo will call on Gabi's phone because he doesn't trust that his phone conversation will be this. But at the end of the day, it's all about e-levy. It's all about pleading on the phone about e-levy. They are in hot waters. They are in hot water, but they are not ready to look. If I were government, they should be open about how they deal with the waste. Actually, for 12 point something billion a year through the hands of your appointees. For when e-levy debate is ongoing for a board chairman to buy Christmas tree for 120 something Ghana cedis, you see there. For when people are crying for what do you call it, Jubilee Holdings to go and register in offshore for Ken Oforiatta to have sanctioned Ghana's taxpayers' money 170 million to Freddie Blay and KK Sapon to buy those shares from what do you call it, as their personal equities. Actually, there's a mess going on. And if Ghanaians know exactly what is happening, I don't think even their ghosts will even want to approve this thing.
Well, listeners, it's interesting. When we get to such crescendo, as the musicians would say, you don't want to stop, but then somehow we have to stop. But let me go to Kojo quickly, and then I come to Frank, and then we run up. Kojo, so finally, what do you want to say pertaining to any story at all? Feel free.
Well, I think earlier on I heard France supporting the Russians. I would not support the Russians. And I would not support Putin. I mean, when it comes to nation statehood, the states have a right to decide. That is my view. Just like any other individual, we have a right to decide what we want to do with our life. So Ukraine has a right to decide what they want to do with their country and which organizations they prefer to join. They have no obligation, although they might have cultural links with Russia, they have no obligations to join Russia like Belarus had done. So they are free to go whatever direction they want to go. And if Russia doesn't like NATO being at its doorstep, they should have long ago, or let's put it this way, Ghanaians say sanitize. They should have sanitized Ukraine after the breakup so that Ukraine will be on their side. But they allow the Western influence to permeate the whole of Ukraine. And Ukraine is now westernized. They want to be part of the EU. They want to be part of NATO. They are free to do whatever they want. I mean, whether the West is not telling us the truth or the East not telling us the truth, they are free to do whatever they choose to do as a country. And nobody should put them under pressure and make demands that they shouldn't be allowed. I mean, just put it this way. Just imagine Ghana makes a demand that Benin should not be allowed to join ECOWAS. I don't think that is fair. That's my view and my opinion. So I will leave it there and let us all pursue our own interest.
But it's the same thing as saying that the West are saying that Iran should never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. That's basically what they are saying.
Everybody is sovereign. Everybody has the right.
The bottom line is that for those of us who are visitors, we all have to get our one-way tickets ready. The day starts, the nearest airport is where you head to.
You go to my mother's village. There's a village in the village.
You never know what will be triggered. You never know what will be triggered. These are nuclear powers.
Yeah.
So all we need to do is to be looking for emergency funds for at least one-way ticket for families back home. That's the shortest bet. Or if you know any old underground station that goes you, please start asking our house prices in those areas so that in case it happens,
just go underground, your bunker,
or befriend someone in that area.
Maybe we go to Kent. There are so many.
Yeah.
That is it.
Mr. Tabri, wait for us. We are coming.
That's the shortest bet. Because even the airplanes might not be safe. So if you gonna get to bunker,
you better drive or start walking.
For me, that's the shortest bet.
Wow. Gentlemen, let me say thank you very much for this wonderful contribution for this program today. We'll catch up later then. Yeah. Thank you. Well, and thank you very much, Mr. Frank Davis, as well. Yes, sir. As I did announce, we are going to go for BB Clement, BB Means Business this afternoon, and we are looking at how to create your own brand. So BB Clement is going to be coming your way. So don't you go away at all. Stay chill and then have a bit of music playing in the background for you, and then we will take you straight to BB Means Business. On that note, when the song ends and you don't hear from me, it's been me, Archie, Mr. Frank Davids, and Kojo D saying have a top of the day. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks for listening.
Lord Kenya, where they may walk, senior, see, so, Magnetic, baby, but you be hold you